The year is 1956. A 25-year-old man knocks on doors asking people to give him their money to invest. He has no office, no track record, and no credentials. But by the end of his life, he'll turn that humble beginning into one of the greatest fortunes in human history. This is the story of Warren Buffett, the man who became rich by being patient while everyone else was in a hurry. What he learned will change how you think about money forever. August 30, 1930, a baby boy was born in Omaha, Nebraska, right in the middle of the Great Depression. His father, Howard Buffett, was a stockbroker who would later become a congressman. His mother, Layla, struggled with emotional issues throughout Warren's childhood. Young Warren wasn't like other kids. At 6 years old, he bought 6-pack cartons of Coca-Cola from his grandfather's grocery store for 25 cents and sold individual bottles for 5 cents each. A nickel profit on every 6-pack. He was already thinking about profit margins in first grade. At 11, he made his first stock investment. He bought 3 shares of Cities Service Preferred at $38 per share, using his entire savings. The stock dropped to $27. Warren watched in agony as his money evaporated, but he held on. Eventually, it climbed back to $40, and he sold, making a small profit. Then the stock soared to $200. That lesson burned into his brain. Don't sell too early. Be patient. Let good investments grow. He never forgot it. Warren was obsessed with numbers. He would memorize population statistics of cities, calculate how long it would take compound interest to turn small amounts into fortunes. Other kids played baseball. Warren calculated probabilities. At 13, he started delivering newspapers. The Washington Post, ironically, a company he would later invest in and make billions from. He earned $175 a month, more than his teacher made. He used that money to buy a 40-acre farm, which he rented out to a farmer. At 13, he was already a landlord. By the time Warren graduated high school, he had saved $9,000, about $150,000 in today's money. Think about that, a teenager with more savings than most adults. His father wanted him to skip college and go straight into business. Warren insisted on going to university. He applied to Harvard Business School. They rejected him. Years later, Warren said it was the best thing that ever happened to him. Instead, he went to Columbia Business School, where he studied under Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. Graham changed Warren's life. He taught a simple principle: buy stocks trading for less than their intrinsic value. Find companies the market undervalues. Buy them cheap. Wait for the market to recognize their true worth. It sounds simple, but most people can't do it. It requires patience, discipline, and the courage to go against the crowd. Warren got perfect scores in Graham's class. After graduation, he wanted to work for Graham's investment firm for free. Graham said no, he only hired Jews because they faced discrimination elsewhere. Warren was crushed, but went back to Omaha. He worked briefly for his father's brokerage firm. He taught an investment class at the University of Omaha. He was 21 years old, teaching people 3 times his age, and they listened because he knew what he was talking about. Wait, here's the turning point. In 1954, Graham finally offered Warren a job in New York. Warren jumped at it. He worked for Graham for 2 years, learning everything he could. Then, in 1956, Graham decided to retire and close the firm. Warren moved back to Omaha. He was 25 years old with about $140,000, mostly from his own savings and earnings. That's when he started knocking on doors. He gathered money from family and friends, eventually raising $105,000 from 7 limited partners. He contributed $100 of his own money. The Buffett Partnership was born. The deal was unusual. Warren would get no management fee. He would only take a percentage of profits above 6%. If the partnership lost money, Warren wouldn't take anything until those losses were recovered. He was betting on himself completely. And it worked. While the Dow Jones Industrial Average returned about 7 to 11% annually during the 1950s and 60s, the Buffett Partnership returned 29.5% annually. Money poured in. By 1962, he was managing $7.2 million.
By 1969, he was managing $100 million. Warren's strategy was simple, but required incredible discipline. He looked for undervalued companies that others ignored. He bought them when they were cheap, held them while others panicked, and sold when they became overvalued. He wasn't chasing hot tips or following trends. He was doing the math, reading financial statements, and thinking long-term. In 1962, Warren started buying stock in a struggling textile company called Berkshire Hathaway. It was trading below its book value. Classic value investing, right? He bought more and more shares. By 1965, he had control of the company. But here's something fascinating. Buying Berkshire Hathaway was actually a mistake. Warren later called it one of his worst decisions. The textile business was dying. He poured money into it, trying to save it. Finally, he realized the truth. Some businesses can't be saved. So, what did he do? He transformed Berkshire Hathaway into an investment holding company. Instead of making textiles, Berkshire would buy other companies. This became the vehicle for everything that followed. Sometimes your mistakes can become your greatest opportunities if you adapt. In 1969, Warren made a shocking announcement. He was closing the Buffett partnership. The stock market was overheated, he said. Everything was overvalued. He couldn't find good investments anymore. He returned money to his partners and recommended they invest in other managers. This is the key point. Warren walked away from easy money because he couldn't find investments that met his standards. He had discipline. Most people can't do this. When everyone else is making money, it's hard to sit on the sidelines. But Warren knew that protecting capital matters more than chasing returns. The 1970s proved him right. The stock market crashed. The Dow Jones fell by over 40%. Warren's partners who had followed his advice were protected. And Warren? He had cash ready to invest when everything was cheap again. Through Berkshire Hathaway, Warren started buying entire companies. See's Candies in 1972 for $25 million. It was earning $4 million annually. Simple math. He'd recoup his investment in about 6 years. Then it would be pure profit forever. And that's exactly what happened. See's has generated over $2 billion in profit for Berkshire since then. He bought insurance companies, GEICO, National Indemnity, General Re. Insurance companies are perfect for Warren's strategy. They collect premiums upfront, pay claims later. That gap, called float, gives him money to invest. It's like getting an interest-free loan from your customers. In 1988, Warren started buying Coca-Cola stock. He eventually owned 7% of the company, spending $1.3 billion. People questioned it. Coke was already famous, already expensive. What was Warren seeing? He saw a simple, understandable business with a strong brand that would still be selling sugary drinks in 50 years. He was right. That investment is now worth over $25 billion. He's held it for over 35 years and counting. That's the power of patience and compound interest. Warren's investment philosophy can be summarized simply. Buy wonderful companies at fair prices, not fair companies at wonderful prices. Hold them forever if possible. Let compound interest work its magic. Don't try to time the market. Don't follow fads. Do your homework and be patient. His lifestyle is famously frugal. He still lives in the same house in Omaha that he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drives himself around in modest cars. He doesn't own a yacht, multiple mansions, or private islands. His daily breakfast costs less than $4 from McDonald's. People ask why someone worth over $130 billion lives so modestly. Warren's answer is simple. Buying expensive things doesn't make him happy. He already has everything he needs. More stuff would just complicate his life. Besides, he's having fun investing money, not spending it. But here's something important. Warren isn't cheap, he's frugal. There's a difference. He spends freely on things he values. Education, for example. Books, which he reads voraciously. Time with family and friends. But he doesn't waste money on status symbols or things that don't bring genuine value to his life. His daily routine is remarkably simple. He wakes up, reads newspapers for hours, reads annual reports and financial statements, makes investment decisions, plays bridge online, and goes home. No complicated schedule, no constant meetings, no traveling to exotic locations for business, just thinking, reading, and deciding where to allocate capital. Warren's partnership with Charlie Munger transformed his investing approach. They met in 1959, and Charlie became vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway in 1978. Charlie pushed Warren beyond pure value investing towards buying quality companies at reasonable prices. Their partnership has lasted over 60 years. They hold annual shareholder meetings in Omaha that attract over 40,000 people. For 6 hours, Warren and Charlie answer questions about investing, business, life, and anything else shareholders want to know. It's called the Woodstock for Capitalists. People come from around the world to hear them speak. What makes these meetings special? Honesty. Warren admits mistakes freely. He discusses failures openly. He doesn't pretend to know everything. He says, "I don't know," when he doesn't know. This transparency built incredible trust.